The Silent Language, Decoding the Power of Nonverbal Communication. Chapter 1. The Unspoken Word, the Power of Nonverbal Communication. We communicate with the world in countless ways. Words spoken or written are the most obvious. But what about the subtle shift in posture, the fleeting flicker of an eyebrow, the almost imperceptible change in tone? These seemingly minor cues, often overlooked, comprise the vast and powerful realm of nonverbal communication, the silent language that speaks volumes. From the moment we are born, even before we utter our first word, we are immersed in a world of nonverbal exchange. A mother's gentle touch, a comforting gaze, a soothing tone of voice. These are the initial building blocks of communication, shaping our understanding of the world and our place within it. As we grow, this silent dialogue continues, influencing our relationships, our successes, and even our sense of self. Nonverbal communication encompasses a rich tapestry of signals, including body language, posture, gestures, movement, facial expressions, smiles, frowns, raised eyebrows, vocal cues, tone, pitch, pace, proxemics, use of space, haptics, touch, chronemics, use of time, and even appearance, clothing, grooming. These cues, often operating below the level of conscious awareness, transmit a wealth of information, emotions, intentions, attitudes, and even personality traits. The significance of nonverbal communication cannot be overstated. Studies suggest that it accounts for a substantial portion of the meaning we derive from interactions, often outweighing the impact of spoken words. While words convey the literal message, nonverbal cues provide the emotional context, revealing the true feelings and intentions behind the words. Think about a time someone said, "I'm fine," while their slumped shoulders and downcast eyes clearly told a different story. This disconnect highlights the crucial role of nonverbal communication in accurately interpreting meaning. The roots of nonverbal communication run deep, tracing back to our evolutionary past. Long before language developed, our ancestors relied on nonverbal cues for survival. Facial expressions signaled danger or friendliness, body posture communicated dominance or submission, and vocalizations conveyed fear or excitement. These ancient communication systems are still deeply ingrained in our DNA, influencing our behavior and shaping our interactions today. The pervasive influence of nonverbal communication extends to every aspect of our lives. It impacts our first impressions, our ability to connect with others, our success in the workplace, and the quality of our personal relationships. Understanding and mastering this silent language can significantly enhance our communication skills, allowing us to build stronger connections, navigate social situations with greater ease, and achieve our goals more effectively. This book is a journey into the fascinating world of nonverbal communication. We will explore the various elements of this silent language, learn how to decode and interpret these subtle cues, and discover how to apply this knowledge to improve our communication skills in all areas of life. Prepare to unlock the power of the unspoken word and discover the hidden messages that are constantly being exchanged around you. Chapter 2. The Body Speaks Volumes. Decoding Body Language. Our bodies are constantly broadcasting messages, even when we're not consciously aware of it. From the way we stand to the subtle gestures we make with our hands, body language plays a crucial role in shaping how others perceive us and how we interact with the world. This chapter delves into the fascinating world of body language, exploring its various components and revealing how these nonverbal cues can convey a wealth of information. Posture, the foundation of body language. Posture is one of the most fundamental aspects of body language. It reflects our overall attitude, confidence, and even our emotional state. An upright posture, with shoulders back and head held high, typically conveys confidence and assertiveness. Conversely, a slumped posture can signal insecurity, shyness, or even depression. Consider the difference in how you perceive someone standing tall and proud versus someone hunched over and withdrawn. The message conveyed is often more powerful than words. Beyond simple uprightness, the nuances of posture can reveal even more. Leaning forward slightly can indicate interest and engagement, while leaning back might suggest disinterest or defensiveness. Mirroring someone's posture can create a sense of rapport and connection, as it signals subconscious agreement and understanding. Gestures, the language of movement. Gestures are another essential component of body language. They add emphasis to our words, convey emotions, and can even replace verbal communication altogether. Think about the universal gesture of a wave to say hello or goodbye, or a thumbs up to express approval. These gestures transcend language barriers and are instantly understood across cultures, though some gestures are culture-specific, which we'll discuss later. Hand gestures, in particular, are incredibly expressive. Open palms can signal honesty and openness, while clenched fists might indicate anger or tension. Pointing fingers can be perceived as aggressive, while gentle hand movements can convey warmth and sincerity. The way we use our hands while speaking can significantly impact how our message is received. Movement, the dance of interaction. Our movements, both large and small, communicate a great deal about us. The way we walk, the way we turn our heads, even the way we shift our weight can all be interpreted by others. A confident stride can project an image of power and assurance, while hesitant steps might suggest uncertainty or nervousness. Eye contact is a particularly powerful form of movement. It plays a crucial role in establishing connection and conveying interest. Making appropriate eye contact shows that you are engaged in the conversation and paying attention to the other person. However, too much eye contact can be perceived as intimidating or aggressive, while too little eye contact might suggest shyness, dishonesty, or disinterest. Proxemics, the space between us. Proxemics refers to the way we use and perceive space. The distance we maintain from others can reveal a lot about our relationship with them and our comfort levels. Intimate space is reserved for close relationships, such as family and romantic partners. Personal space is the bubble we create around ourselves in everyday interactions with friends and colleagues. Social space is typically used in more formal settings, such as business meetings or social gatherings. Public space is the distance we maintain in public speaking or large events. Invading someone's personal space can make them feel uncomfortable or even threatened. Conversely, standing too far away can create a sense of distance and detachment. Understanding proxemics can help us navigate social situations more effectively and create a sense of comfort and connection with others. Putting it all together, it's important to remember that body language cues rarely exist in isolation. We need to consider the context of the interaction and look for clusters of signals to accurately interpret meaning. A single gesture taken out of context can be misleading. For example, crossed arms might indicate defensiveness in one situation, but could simply be a comfortable posture in another. By paying attention to the interplay of posture, gestures, movement, and proxemics, we can gain a much deeper understanding of the messages being communicated nonverbally. In the following chapters, we'll explore how these elements combine with facial expressions and vocal cues to create a complete picture of communication. Chapter 3. The face, a window to the soul. The human face is a remarkable instrument of communication, capable of expressing a vast range of emotions and intentions. From a fleeting smile to a furrowed brow, our facial expressions provide a constant stream of information about our inner world. This chapter delves into the intricate world of facial expressions, exploring their universality, their cultural nuances, and the subtle cues that can reveal our true feelings, the universal language of emotion. While cultural differences exist in the interpretation of some nonverbal cues, certain facial expressions are universally recognized as conveying basic emotions. Research by Paul Ekman and his colleagues has identified 6 fundamental emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust that are associated with distinct facial expressions across diverse cultures. These expressions are believed to be innate, reflecting our shared evolutionary heritage. Happiness, characterized by a raised mouth, crinkled eyes, and raised cheeks. Sadness, often displayed with downturned mouth corners, raised inner eyebrows, and drooping eyelids. Anger typically involves lowered eyebrows, tightened lips, and a direct gaze. Fear, marked by raised eyebrows, widened eyes, and a slightly open mouth. Surprise, shown with raised eyebrows, widened eyes, and an open mouth. Disgust, often expressed with a wrinkled nose, raised upper lip, and narrowed eyes. Recognizing these universal expressions is a crucial first step in understanding facial communication. They provide a foundation for interpreting the emotions of others, regardless of their cultural background. The nuances of facial expression. While these basic emotions are universally recognized, the way they are expressed and interpreted can vary depending on cultural norms and individual differences. Some cultures are more expressive than others, while some individuals are naturally more demonstrative in their facial expressions. Furthermore, facial expressions are rarely simple or isolated. Often, we experience a complex blend of emotions, which can be reflected in subtle combinations of facial cues. For example, someone might express a mixture of happiness and sadness, with a smile that is tinged with a hint of melancholy. Learning to recognize these nuanced expressions is essential for accurately interpreting the emotional landscape of others. Microexpressions, the fleeting truth. Microexpressions are brief, involuntary facial expressions that occur in a fraction of a second. They often reveal concealed emotions that people are trying to suppress or hide. Because they are so fleeting, microexpressions are difficult to detect consciously. However, with training and practice, it is possible to learn to recognize these subtle cues and gain deeper insights into a person's true feelings. Microexpressions are particularly relevant in situations where deception might be a factor. While people can consciously control their facial expressions for a short period, microexpressions often betray their true emotions. However, it's important to note that microexpressions are not foolproof indicators of deception. They simply suggest that a particular emotion is being experienced, whether or not it aligns with what the person is saying. The eyes, the windows to the soul, and more. The eyes are often referred to as the windows to the soul, and for good reason. They provide a wealth of information about a person's emotions, thoughts, and intentions. Eye contact, as discussed in the previous chapter, is a powerful form of nonverbal communication. But even beyond direct eye contact, the eyes themselves can reveal a great deal. Pupil dilation, for example, is an involuntary response that can indicate interest, attraction, or even fear. Raised eyebrows can signal surprise or disbelief, while furrowed brows might suggest concentration or concern. The direction of gaze can also be revealing. Looking up and to the left, for instance, is often associated with recalling memories, while looking down and to the right might suggest constructing a thought or idea. The mouth, more than just words. While the mouth is primarily used for speaking, it also plays a significant role in expressing emotions. The shape of the mouth, the position of the lips, and even the appearance of the teeth can all contribute to the communication of feelings. A genuine smile, known as a Duchenne smile, involves not only the corners of the mouth turning upwards, but also the muscles around the eyes contracting, creating crow's feet. A fake smile, on the other hand, often only involves the mouth muscles, and the eyes remain relatively inactive. Context is key. As with all forms of nonverbal communication, it's crucial to consider the context when interpreting facial expressions. The same facial expression can have different meanings depending on the situation, the relationship between the individuals involved, and the cultural background. For example, a smile might express happiness in one context, but could be used sarcastically in another. By paying attention to the nuances of facial expressions, including microexpressions, eye movements, and mouth cues, and by considering the context in which they occur, we can gain a deeper understanding of the emotions and intentions of others. The face truly is a window to the soul, offering a rich tapestry of information for those who know how to read it. Chapter 4. The music of our voice, the power of paralanguage. While words carry the content of our message, it's often how we say those words that truly reveals our feelings and intentions. This is the realm of paralanguage, the vocal cues that accompany our speech and add layers of meaning beyond the literal words themselves. This chapter explores the fascinating world of vocal communication, delving into the impact of tone of voice, pitch, pace, volume, and other vocal nuances. Tone of voice. The emotional undercurrent. Our tone of voice is a powerful indicator of our emotional state. It can convey everything from excitement and enthusiasm to boredom and sarcasm. A warm and friendly tone can build rapport and create connection, while a harsh or critical tone can create distance and conflict. Think about how the same sentence can be interpreted in vastly different ways depending on the tone of voice used. That's interesting. Spoken with genuine curiosity conveys a completely different message than the same words spoken with a flat, dismissive tone. Tone of voice is also influenced by our emotional state. When we are happy, our voice tends to be more upbeat and melodic. When we are sad, our voice may become softer and more subdued. When we are angry, our voice might become louder and more tense. By paying attention to the subtle shifts in tone, we can gain valuable insights into the emotional state of the speaker. Pitch, the rise and fall of meaning. Pitch refers to the highness or lowness of our voice. Variations in pitch, known as intonation, play a crucial role in conveying meaning and emphasis. Raising our pitch at the end of a sentence often indicates a question, while lowering our pitch can signal finality or certainty. Changes in pitch can also be used to emphasize certain words or phrases, highlighting their importance in the message. Monotone speech, lacking in pitch variation, can be perceived as boring or disengaged. On the other hand, excessive pitch variation can be distracting or even confusing. Effective communicators use pitch to add expressiveness and clarity to their speech, making their message more engaging and easier to understand. Pace, the rhythm of communication. The pace of our speech, or how quickly or slowly we speak, can also impact how our message is received. Speaking quickly can convey excitement or urgency, but it can also be perceived as nervousness or impatience. Speaking slowly might suggest thoughtfulness or deliberation, but it can also be interpreted as boredom or lack of confidence. The ideal pace of speech depends on the context and the message being conveyed. When explaining a complex concept, a slower pace might be more appropriate to allow the listener time to process the information. When delivering exciting news, a faster pace might be more fitting to convey enthusiasm. Volume, the power of projection. Volume refers to the loudness or softness of our voice. Speaking loudly can project confidence and assertiveness, but it can also be perceived as aggressive or intimidating. Speaking softly might suggest shyness or timidity, but it can also create a sense of intimacy and connection. The appropriate volume depends on the situation. In a large room or when addressing a crowd, a louder volume is necessary to ensure that everyone can hear. In a small group or one-on-one conversation, a softer volume might be more appropriate. Other vocal cues, the nuances of sound. Beyond tone, pitch, pace, and volume, there are other vocal cues that contribute to paralanguage. These include pauses. Strategic pauses can be used to emphasize certain words or phrases, create dramatic effect, or give the listener time to process information. Vocalizations. These are sounds that accompany our speech, such as and while occasional vocalizations are natural. Excessive use can be distracting and can make the speaker appear hesitant or unprepared. Laughing. Laughter is a powerful expression of joy, amusement, or even nervousness. The type of laughter, its intensity, and its timing can all reveal valuable information about the speaker's emotional state. Sighing. A sigh can express a range of emotions, including relief, frustration, or resignation. The interplay of vocal cues. Just as with body language and facial expressions, it's important to consider the interplay of vocal cues when interpreting paralanguage. Tone of voice, pitch, pace, volume, and other vocalizations work together to create a complete vocal message. A change in any one of these cues can significantly alter the meaning of the spoken words. By paying attention to the music of our voice and the voices of others, we can gain a deeper understanding of the messages being communicated. Paralanguage adds richness and depth to our communication, revealing the emotions and intentions that lie beneath the surface of words. Chapter 5. The Interplay of Signals, Creating a Complete Message. Human communication is a complex and multifaceted process. While we often focus on the spoken word, the true meaning of our messages is conveyed through a delicate interplay of verbal and nonverbal cues. Body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice don't operate in isolation. They intertwine and interact, creating a rich tapestry of communication. This chapter explores how these elements work together, how they can reinforce or contradict each other, and how understanding their interplay can significantly enhance our communication skills. The symphony of communication. Imagine an orchestra. Each instrument, while capable of producing beautiful sounds on its own, contributes to a greater symphony when played in concert with the others. Similarly, body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice are individual instruments in the orchestra of communication. They each contribute valuable information, but their true power lies in their combined effect. When these elements are aligned, they create a clear and consistent message, reinforcing the spoken word and enhancing its impact. For example, a confident posture, a genuine smile, and a warm tone of voice can amplify a message of enthusiasm and create a strong connection with the listener. Conversely, a slumped posture, a furrowed brow, and a hesitant tone can undermine even the most carefully chosen words, creating confusion and distrust. The potential for mixed messages. Sometimes our nonverbal cues can contradict our spoken words, creating mixed messages. This often happens when we are trying to conceal our true feelings or intentions. For example, someone might say, "I'm fine," while their slumped shoulders, downcast eyes, and shaky voice clearly indicate otherwise. These mixed messages can be confusing and frustrating for the listener, who may struggle to discern the true meaning of the communication. Mixed messages can also arise from a lack of self-awareness. We may be unaware of the nonverbal cues we are sending, or we may misinterpret the cues we are receiving from others. Developing self-awareness and paying attention to the nonverbal signals of those around us is crucial for minimizing the potential for mixed messages and improving communication clarity. Decoding the combined message. To accurately interpret communication, it's essential to look at the entire picture, considering the interplay of body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Don't focus on isolated gestures or expressions. Instead, look for clusters of cues that support each other and create a consistent message. For example, crossed arms can have different meanings depending on the context. They might indicate defensiveness, but they could also simply be a comfortable posture, especially if the person's facial expression is relaxed and their tone of voice is friendly. To accurately interpret the meaning of crossed arms, you need to consider the other nonverbal cues that are present. Context is paramount. The context of the interaction plays a crucial role in interpreting the interplay of signals. The same nonverbal cues can have different meanings in different situations. For example, a direct gaze might be appropriate in a business meeting, but could be perceived as aggressive in a social setting. Understanding the social and cultural context is essential for accurately interpreting nonverbal communication. Developing your observational skills. Improving your ability to read the interplay of nonverbal signals requires practice and observation. Pay attention to the subtle cues that people are sending, and consider how these cues relate to their spoken words. Observe how body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice work together to create a complete message. Practice observing people in different situations and try to interpret their nonverbal communication. Don't jump to conclusions based on isolated cues. Instead, look for patterns and clusters of signals. The more you practice, the better you will become at decoding the silent language of communication. The power of congruence. When our verbal and nonverbal communication are congruent, that is, when they are aligned and consistent, our messages are more powerful and persuasive. Congruence builds trust and credibility, making it easier for others to understand and believe what we are saying. By paying attention to the interplay of signals and striving for congruence in our own communication, we can significantly enhance our ability to connect with others, build strong relationships, and achieve our communication goals. The symphony of communication is a powerful force, and understanding its intricacies is key to becoming a more effective communicator. Chapter 6: Cultural Variations in Nonverbal Communication. Navigating a world of silent languages. Nonverbal communication, while often perceived as universal, is deeply influenced by culture. What might be considered polite in one culture could be offensive in another. Understanding these cultural nuances is crucial for effective communication in an increasingly interconnected world. This chapter explores the fascinating realm of cultural variations in nonverbal communication, emphasizing the importance of cultural sensitivity and avoiding misinterpretations. The influence of culture on nonverbal cues. Culture shapes our understanding and expression of nonverbal cues in profound ways. From body language and facial expressions to proxemics and haptics, cultural norms dictate what is considered appropriate and acceptable. These norms are often learned implicitly from a young age and become ingrained in our behavior. For example, direct eye contact is often seen as a sign of honesty and attentiveness in Western cultures. However, in some Asian and African cultures, prolonged eye contact can be considered disrespectful or challenging. Similarly, the use of touch varies significantly across cultures. Handshakes are common in many parts of the world, but the appropriate level of firmness and duration can differ widely. In some cultures, a light touch is considered polite, while in others, a firm grip is expected. Variations in body language. Different cultures have different interpretations of common body language cues. The OK sign, for instance, is a positive gesture in many Western countries, but it is considered offensive in some parts of South America and the Middle East. Similarly, nodding the head generally signifies agreement, but in some cultures it can mean the opposite. Gestures that are perfectly acceptable in one culture can be highly offensive in another. It's crucial to be aware of these cultural differences to avoid unintentional insults or misunderstandings. Researching the specific cultural norms of the people you are interacting with can be invaluable. Facial expressions, a matter of degree. While some basic facial expressions are universally recognized, the intensity and frequency with which they are displayed can vary significantly across cultures. Some cultures are more expressive than others, while some emphasize emotional restraint. People from more expressive cultures may use exaggerated facial expressions to convey their emotions, while those from more reserved cultures may display emotions more subtly. It's important to avoid making generalizations about entire cultures. Within any culture, there will be individual differences in expressiveness. However, understanding the general cultural tendencies can help you navigate intercultural interactions more effectively. Proxemics, the dance of space, the way we use and perceive space, is also culturally determined. Some cultures are considered high contact, meaning that people tend to stand closer together and engage in more physical touch. Other cultures are low contact, with people preferring more personal space. Invading someone's personal space can be perceived as aggressive or uncomfortable, while standing too far away can create a sense of distance and detachment. Understanding these cultural differences in proxemics can help you avoid making others feel uncomfortable and create a more positive interaction. Haptics, the language of touch. The use of touch or haptics is another area where cultural variations are significant. Some cultures are more tactile than others, with people frequently touching each other during conversations. Other cultures are more reserved, with physical touch being limited to close relationships. Even within cultures that are generally considered tactile, there can be specific rules about who can touch whom and in what circumstances. It's crucial to be aware of these cultural norms to avoid making someone feel uncomfortable or violated. Chronemics, the use of time. Chronemics, the study of how cultures perceive and use time, also influences communication. Some cultures are monochronic, meaning that they value punctuality and adhere to schedules strictly. Other cultures are polychronic, with time being more flexible and fluid. In polychronic cultures, it's not unusual for people to arrive late for appointments or for meetings to be interrupted. Understanding these cultural differences in the use of time can help you avoid misunderstandings and navigate intercultural interactions more smoothly. Developing cultural sensitivity. Developing cultural sensitivity is essential for effective communication in a diverse world. This involves being aware of your own cultural biases, learning about the cultural norms of others, and being willing to adapt your communication style accordingly. Here are some tips for developing cultural sensitivity. Do your research. Learn about the cultural norms of the people you are interacting with. Observe and listen. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues that people are sending. Ask questions. If you are unsure about something, don't be afraid to ask. Be respectful. Treat others with respect, even if their cultural norms are different from yours. Be patient. It takes time to develop cultural sensitivity. By understanding and respecting cultural variations in nonverbal communication, we can bridge cultural gaps, build stronger relationships, and create a more inclusive and harmonious world. Chapter 7. Reading Body Language. Deciphering the silent signals. Body language is a constant stream of information, revealing our thoughts, feelings, and intentions, often without us even realizing it. Learning to read body language effectively is a valuable skill that can significantly enhance our communication and interpersonal interactions. This chapter provides practical guidance on how to interpret body language cues, emphasizing the importance of looking for clusters of signals rather than isolated gestures. Observing clusters, not just single gestures. One of the most crucial principles of interpreting body language is to avoid focusing on isolated gestures. A single gesture taken out of context can be misleading. For instance, crossed arms might indicate defensiveness in one situation, but they could simply be a comfortable posture in another. To accurately interpret body language, it's essential to look for clusters of signals that support each other and create a consistent message. Key areas of body language to observe. Here are some key areas of body language to pay attention to. Posture. Posture is a powerful indicator of confidence, attitude, and emotional state. An upright posture generally conveys confidence and assertiveness, while a slumped posture can signal insecurity or disinterest. Pay attention to how someone stands or sits, and consider how their posture might relate to the situation and their verbal communication. Gestures. Hand gestures in particular are incredibly expressive. Open palms often signal honesty and openness, while clenched fists can indicate tension or anger. Pointing fingers can be perceived as aggressive, while gentle hand movements can convey warmth and sincerity. Observe how someone uses their hands while speaking and consider the context of their gestures. Movement. Our movements, both large and small, communicate a great deal about us. The way we walk, the way we turn our heads, even the way we shift our weight can all be interpreted by others. A confident stride can project an image of power and assurance, while hesitant steps might suggest uncertainty or nervousness. Proxemics, the way we use and perceive space, known as proxemics, can reveal a lot about our relationships and comfort levels. The distance we maintain from others, our orientation towards them, and our use of personal space are all important cues to consider. Eye contact. Eye contact is a crucial element of nonverbal communication. Making appropriate eye contact shows that you are engaged in the conversation and paying attention to the other person. However, too much eye contact can be perceived as intimidating or aggressive, while too little eye contact might suggest shyness, dishonesty, or disinterest. Pay attention to the duration and frequency of eye contact, as well as the direction of gaze. Facial expressions. While covered in detail in the previous chapter, facial expressions are an integral part of body language. Pay attention to the subtle movements of the eyebrows, eyes, and mouth, as these can reveal a person's true feelings, even if they are trying to mask them. Examples of body language clusters. Here are some examples of how different body language cues can combine to create a specific message. Confidence, upright posture, direct eye contact, firm handshake, relaxed but controlled gestures. Disinterest, slumped posture, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, turning away from the speaker. Openness, leaning slightly forward, open palms, nodding in agreement, maintaining eye contact. Defensiveness, crossed arms, clenched fists, narrowed eyes, leaning back. The importance of context. It's crucial to remember that body language cues rarely exist in isolation. We need to consider the context of the interaction, the relationship between the individuals involved, and the cultural background to accurately interpret meaning. A gesture that is perfectly acceptable in one culture might be considered offensive in another. Practicing your observation skills. Improving your ability to read body language requires practice and observation. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues that people are sending in everyday interactions. Observe how body language changes in different situations and how it relates to spoken words. The more you practice, the better you will become at deciphering the silent signals of communication, avoiding misinterpretations. While learning to read body language can be a valuable skill, it's important to avoid jumping to conclusions. Don't rely solely on nonverbal cues to interpret someone's thoughts or feelings. Consider the context, the individual's personality, and their cultural background. And remember that everyone is different, so there is no single correct interpretation of any particular gesture or expression. By paying attention to clusters of signals, considering the context, and practicing your observation skills, you can significantly improve your ability to read body language and enhance your communication skills. This silent language speaks volumes, and learning to understand it can open up a new world of connection and understanding. Chapter 8, Understanding Facial Expressions, Deciphering the Emotional Landscape. The human face is a dynamic canvas, capable of expressing a vast array of emotions, intentions, and thoughts. From a fleeting smile to a furrowed brow, facial expressions provide a constant stream of information about our inner world. This chapter delves deeper into the intricacies of facial expressions, exploring how to recognize and interpret different expressions, including subtle cues and micro-expressions, while acknowledging the challenges of masking emotions. Recognizing basic emotions. As discussed in Chapter 3, certain facial expressions are universally recognized as conveying basic emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust. These expressions are believed to be innate and are consistent across different cultures. Being able to quickly recognize these basic emotions is a fundamental skill in understanding facial communication. Beyond the basics, nuances and combinations. While recognizing basic emotions is important, human emotional experience is rarely simple. We often experience a complex blend of emotions, which can be reflected in subtle combinations of facial cues. For example, Someone might express a mixture of happiness and sadness, with a smile that is tinged with a hint of melancholy. Learning to discern these nuanced expressions is crucial for accurately interpreting the emotional landscape of others. The eyes, the storytellers of emotion. The eyes are often considered the most expressive part of the face, revealing a wealth of information about a person's emotions, thoughts, and intentions. Pay close attention to the following eye cues. Eye contact. The amount and duration of eye contact can signal interest, engagement, or even discomfort. Pupil dilation. Pupil size can change involuntarily in response to emotions, often dilating when we are interested or aroused. Eyebrow movements. Raised eyebrows can indicate surprise or disbelief, while furrowed brows might suggest concentration or concern. Gaze direction. The direction of gaze can reveal where a person's attention is focused and can even suggest their thoughts or intentions. The mouth, more than just a smile. While the smile is often associated with happiness, the mouth can express a wide range of emotions. Consider these cues. Lip shape. A slight upturn of the lips can signal amusement, while downturned lips can indicate sadness or disapproval. Lip movements. Tightened lips might suggest tension or anger, while relaxed lips can indicate calmness. Mouth position. An open mouth can express surprise or shock, while a closed mouth might signal reservation or secrecy. Microexpressions. Glimpses of truth. Microexpressions are brief, involuntary facial expressions that occur in a fraction of a second. They often reveal concealed emotions that people are trying to suppress or hide. Because they are so fleeting, microexpressions are difficult to detect consciously. However, with training and practice, it is possible to learn to recognize these subtle cues and gain deeper insights into a person's true feelings. While helpful, they are not a definitive indicator of lying, only that an emotion is being experienced. The challenge of masking emotions. People are often able to consciously control their facial expressions, masking their true emotions. This can make it challenging to accurately interpret facial cues. However, even the most skilled actors can have difficulty maintaining a false expression for an extended period. Microexpressions, subtle muscle movements, and inconsistencies in facial expression can often betray a person's true feelings. Context is crucial. As with all forms of nonverbal communication, context is paramount when interpreting facial expressions. The same facial expression can have different meanings depending on the situation, the relationship between the individuals involved, and the cultural background. For example, a smile might express happiness in one context, but could be used sarcastically in another. Developing your observational skills. Improving your ability to read facial expressions requires practice and observation. Pay attention to the subtle movements of the face in everyday interactions. Observe how facial expressions change in different situations and how they relate to spoken words and other nonverbal cues. The more you practice, the better you will become at deciphering the emotional landscape of the face. Ethical considerations. It's important to use your knowledge of facial expressions ethically and responsibly. Avoid using this information to manipulate or exploit others. The goal of understanding facial expressions should be to improve communication and build stronger relationships, not to gain an unfair advantage. By paying attention to the nuances of facial expressions, including microexpressions, eye movements, and mouth cues, and by considering the context in which they occur, you can gain a deeper understanding of the emotions and intentions of others. The face is a rich source of information, and learning to read it effectively can significantly enhance your communication skills. Chapter 9. Listening to the voice. Decoding the music of communication. While words convey the literal meaning of our messages, it's often how we say those words that reveals our true feelings and intentions. This is the realm of paralanguage, the vocal cues that accompany our speech and add layers of meaning beyond the dictionary definitions. This chapter focuses on developing your ability to listen to the voice, exploring how tone, pitch, pace, volume, and other vocal cues can significantly impact communication. Beyond words, the power of paralanguage. Paralanguage encompasses a range of vocal cues, including tone of voice. Our tone reflects our emotional state, conveying everything from excitement and enthusiasm to boredom and sarcasm. A warm, inviting tone can build rapport, while a cold, dismissive tone can create distance. Pitch, the highness or lowness of our voice, and variations in pitch, intonation, add emphasis and meaning. Rising pitch at the end of a sentence often signals a question, while falling pitch can indicate certainty. Pace, the speed at which we speak, can communicate different things. Rapid speech might suggest excitement or nervousness, while slow speech can imply deliberation or even boredom. Volume, the loudness or softness of our voice plays a role. A loud voice can project confidence, but it can also be perceived as aggressive. A soft voice might suggest shyness or intimacy. Pauses. Strategic pauses can emphasize key words, create dramatic effect, or give the listener time to process information. Conversely, too many pauses or vocal fillers can detract from the message. Vocalizations. These are sounds that accompany our speech, such as sighs, laughs, and groans. They can reveal a range of emotions and intentions. Connecting vocal cues to emotional states. Our vocal cues are often directly linked to our emotional state. For example, happiness, often associated with a higher pitch, faster pace, and a warm, enthusiastic tone. Sadness may manifest as a lower pitch, slower pace, and a softer, more subdued tone. Anger can be characterized by a louder volume, faster pace, and a harsh, clipped tone. Fear might involve a higher pitch, faster pace, and a trembling or hesitant tone. By paying attention to these vocal cues, you can gain valuable insights into the speaker's emotional state, even if they are trying to conceal their feelings. Developing your listening skills. Improving your ability to listen to the voice requires conscious effort and practice. Here are some tips. Focus on the speaker's voice. Don't just listen to the words. Pay attention to the tone, pitch, pace, and volume. Listen actively. Engage with the speaker by nodding, making brief verbal affirmations, I see, and maintaining eye contact. Pay attention to vocalizations. Notice sighs, laughs, and other vocal cues, and consider how they relate to the speaker's message. Consider the context. The same vocal cue can have different meanings depending on the situation and the relationship between the speakers. Practice listening in different settings. Try listening to the voices of people in conversations, presentations, and even on the phone. The importance of congruence. Just as with body language and facial expressions, it's essential for our vocal cues to be congruent with our spoken words. When our paralanguage aligns with our message, it reinforces our communication and makes it more believable. Conversely, incongruent vocal cues can create mixed messages and undermine our credibility. The voice in different contexts. The way we use our voice can vary depending on the context. In formal settings, we might adopt a more professional tone and vocabulary. In informal settings, we might be more relaxed and conversational. Being aware of these contextual variations can help us interpret vocal cues more accurately. The voice and deception. While no single vocal cue is a foolproof indicator of deception, inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal communication, including vocal cues, can be a red flag. Pay attention to any sudden changes in tone, pitch, pace, or volume, as these might suggest that the speaker is experiencing discomfort or trying to conceal something. The power of the spoken word. Listening to the voice is an essential skill for effective communication. By paying attention to the nuances of paralanguage, we can gain a deeper understanding of the messages being conveyed and build stronger connections with others. The voice, like the face and body, speaks volumes, revealing the emotional landscape of human interaction. Chapter 10. Recognizing Deception. the subtle cues of dishonesty. While no one can claim to be a foolproof human lie detector, understanding nonverbal communication can offer valuable insights into recognizing potential deception. This chapter explores the subtle cues associated with dishonesty, examining the inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal communication that may suggest someone is being less than truthful. It also discusses the limitations and ethical considerations of reading deception, the inconsistencies of deception. Deception often creates internal conflict, which can manifest in subtle nonverbal cues. These cues are often involuntary and difficult to control, making them potential indicators of dishonesty. However, it's crucial to remember that these cues are not definitive proof of lying. They simply suggest that someone may be experiencing discomfort or trying to conceal something. Key nonverbal cues associated with deception. Microexpressions. These fleeting facial expressions, occurring in a fraction of a second, can betray concealed emotions, even if someone is trying to maintain a poker face. Eye contact. While some liars may avoid eye contact altogether, others may overcompensate by making excessive eye contact, which can feel unnatural or forced. Look for inconsistencies in eye contact, such as rapid blinking, darting eyes, or a lack of genuine warmth in the eyes. Body language. Changes in posture, fidgeting, and other nervous movements can suggest discomfort or anxiety, which may be associated with deception. Look for clusters of cues, such as shifting weight, fidgeting with hands or objects, or a sudden change in posture. Vocal cues. Inconsistencies in tone of voice, pitch, pace, or volume can also be revealing. A sudden change in vocal patterns, such as a higher pitch or a faster pace, may suggest nervousness or stress. Hesitations, pauses, and vocal fillers can also be indicators of deception. Contradictory signals. When verbal and nonverbal communication are at odds, it can be a sign of deception. For example, someone might say, "I'm not nervous," while their hands are trembling and their voice is shaky. Important considerations. No single cue is definitive. There is no single nonverbal cue that definitively indicates deception. It's crucial to look for clusters of cues and consider the context of the interaction. Individual differences. People have different baseline behaviors. Some people are naturally more fidgety or have a tendency to avoid eye contact, which doesn't necessarily mean they are being dishonest. Cultural variations. Cultural norms can influence nonverbal communication, including cues related to deception. What might be considered a sign of deception in one culture could be perfectly normal in another. Emotional states. Many of the nonverbal cues associated with deception can also be caused by other emotional states such as anxiety, stress, or discomfort. It's important to rule out other possible explanations before concluding that someone is being dishonest. Limitations of reading deception. It's important to acknowledge the limitations of trying to read deception. Even experts can be wrong. There is no foolproof method for detecting lies based solely on nonverbal communication. Relying too heavily on nonverbal cues can lead to misinterpretations and false accusations. Ethical considerations. Using your knowledge of nonverbal communication to read deception raises ethical concerns. It's crucial to avoid using this information to manipulate or exploit others. Accusing someone of lying based solely on nonverbal cues can be damaging to relationships and can have serious consequences. Focus on communication, not accusation. The goal of understanding nonverbal communication should be to improve communication and build stronger relationships, not to become a lie detector. If you suspect someone is being dishonest, it's generally better to address the issue directly and openly, rather than relying on nonverbal cues to make accusations. Developing your observational skills. While it's important to be aware of the limitations and ethical considerations, developing your observational skills can be valuable in various situations. Pay attention to inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal communication and consider the context of the interaction. The more you practice, the better you will become at recognizing potential deception. But always remember that no one can read minds. The importance of trust. Ultimately, trust is the foundation of healthy relationships. While it's helpful to be aware of the potential for deception, it's important to avoid becoming overly suspicious or cynical. Focus on building trust and open communication, and remember that everyone is capable of making mistakes. Chapter 11. Decoding Context. The lens through which we interpret. Nonverbal communication doesn't exist in a vacuum. The meaning of a gesture, a facial expression, or a vocal cue can change dramatically depending on the context in which it occurs. This chapter explores the crucial role of context in interpreting nonverbal communication, emphasizing how the situation, the relationship between the individuals involved, and the cultural background can significantly influence the meaning of cues. The importance of context. Imagine someone crossing their arms. In one situation, it might signal defensiveness or disagreement. In another, it could simply be a comfortable posture, especially if the room is cold. The difference lies in the context. To accurately interpret nonverbal communication, we must consider the surrounding circumstances, key elements of context, the situation, the specific setting or event in which the communication takes place. A business meeting, a casual conversation, and a formal presentation all have different social norms and expectations, which influence how nonverbal cues are interpreted. The relationship, the nature of the relationship between the individuals involved. The same gesture might be interpreted differently depending on whether it comes from a close friend, a stranger, or a superior at work. The cultural background. Cultural norms and values play a significant role in shaping nonverbal communication. A gesture that is perfectly acceptable in one culture might be considered offensive in another. Past interactions. Previous interactions between the individuals can also influence how their current communication is interpreted. If two people have a history of conflict, for example, even neutral gestures might be perceived as hostile. Emotional state. The emotional state of the individuals involved. Someone who is feeling stressed or anxious might exhibit nonverbal cues that are unrelated to the current conversation. How context influences interpretation. Here are some examples of how context can alter the meaning of nonverbal cues. Eye contact. Prolonged eye contact can be a sign of interest and engagement in some cultures, but it can be perceived as aggressive or challenging in others. The context of the interaction and the relationship between the individuals involved are crucial in determining the meaning of eye contact. Touch. A light touch on the arm can be a sign of warmth and support in some cultures, but it can be considered inappropriate or even offensive in others. The context of the interaction and the cultural background are key factors in interpreting the meaning of touch. Proxemics. The distance we maintain from others can vary depending on the context and the relationship. Standing close to someone might be appropriate in a personal conversation, but could be perceived as intrusive in a formal setting. Facial expressions. A smile can express happiness, but it can also be used sarcastically or to mask other emotions. The context of the interaction and other nonverbal cues are crucial for accurately interpreting the meaning of a smile. Decoding contextual clues. To effectively decode context, pay attention to the following. The environment. Where is the interaction taking place? Is it a formal or informal setting? The people involved. Who are the individuals interacting? What is their relationship? The purpose of the interaction. What is the goal of the communication? The cultural norms. What are the cultural norms and values of the people involved? Developing contextual awareness. Improving your contextual awareness requires practice and observation. Pay attention to the subtle cues that the environment, the relationship, and the cultural background provide. Consider how these factors might influence the meaning of nonverbal communication. Avoiding misinterpretations. By being mindful of context, we can avoid misinterpreting nonverbal cues. and improve our communication skills. Remember that nonverbal communication is complex and nuanced, and context is essential for accurate interpretation. The importance of cultural sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity is crucial for understanding context. Be aware of the cultural norms and values of the people you are interacting with, and be respectful of their differences. Avoid making assumptions based on your own cultural background. The power of observation. Developing your observational skills is key to decoding context. Pay attention to the details of the situation, the relationship, and the cultural background. The more you observe, the better you will become at understanding the subtle cues that context provides. By understanding the importance of context and developing your contextual awareness, you can significantly improve your ability to interpret nonverbal communication and build stronger, more meaningful connections with others. Context is the lens through which we interpret the silent language, and mastering it is essential for effective communication. Chapter 12, Building Rapport and Trust. The silent language of connection. Rapport and trust are the cornerstones of strong interpersonal relationships. They create a sense of connection, understanding, and mutual respect, paving the way for effective communication and collaboration. Nonverbal communication plays a crucial role in building rapport and trust, often speaking louder than words. This chapter explores how to use nonverbal cues to establish rapport, create connection, and foster trust in your interactions with others. The silent signals of connection. Building rapport involves creating a sense of shared understanding and positive connection. It's about making the other person feel comfortable, valued, and understood. Nonverbal cues can be powerful tools in this process. Mirroring. Subtly mirroring another person's body language, their posture, gestures, and even breathing patterns can create a sense of connection and shared understanding. It signals that you are on the same wavelength. However, mirroring should be subtle and natural, not a blatant imitation. Matching vocal cues. Similar to mirroring body language, matching vocal cues such as tone of voice, pace, and volume can also enhance rapport. Adjusting your vocal style to be similar to the other person's can create a sense of harmony and connection. Eye contact. Appropriate eye contact is essential for building rapport. It shows that you are engaged, attentive, and interested in what the other person is saying. However, the right amount of eye contact varies across cultures, so be mindful of cultural norms. Smiling. A genuine smile is a universal expression of warmth and friendliness. It can put others at ease and create a positive atmosphere. However, it's important to differentiate between a genuine Duchenne smile, which involves the muscles around the eyes, and a fake smile, which only involves the mouth. Open body language. Uncrossed arms and legs, relaxed shoulders, and a generally open posture signal receptiveness and approachability. They create a sense of openness and invite connection. Leaning in, slightly leaning towards the other person can communicate interest and engagement. It shows that you are focused on what they are saying and that you value their input. The foundation of trust. Trust is built on consistency, authenticity, and genuine care. Nonverbal communication can either reinforce or undermine trust. Congruence. When our verbal and nonverbal communication are congruent, that is, when they align and support each other, it builds trust and credibility. Incongruent communication, where our words and nonverbal cues contradict each other, can create suspicion and distrust. Consistency. Being consistent in our nonverbal communication over time is crucial for building trust. If our nonverbal cues are constantly changing or inconsistent, it can make others feel uncertain and less likely to trust us. Authenticity. Genuine nonverbal communication is essential for building trust. People can usually tell when someone is being fake or insincere. Authenticity comes from being present in the moment and expressing your true feelings and intentions. Respectful nonverbal communication. Respecting the personal space, cultural norms, and communication preferences of others is essential for building trust. Being mindful of these factors shows that you value the other person and their boundaries. Applying nonverbal communication to build rapport and trust. Here are some practical tips for using nonverbal communication to build rapport and trust. Be mindful of your own nonverbal cues. Pay attention to your posture, gestures, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Make sure that your nonverbal communication is congruent with your message and that it conveys warmth, openness, and sincerity. Observe the nonverbal cues of others. Pay attention to the body language, facial expressions, and vocal cues of those around you. Try to understand their emotional state and their communication style. Adapt your nonverbal communication. Adjust your nonverbal cues to match the context and the individuals you are interacting with. Be mindful of cultural differences and personal preferences. Practice active listening. Combine attentive listening with appropriate nonverbal cues such as eye contact, nodding, and leaning in to show that you are engaged and interested. Be genuine and authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not. Authenticity is key to building trust and rapport. The power of connection. Building rapport and trust through nonverbal communication is a powerful tool for creating meaningful connections with others. It enhances communication, fosters collaboration, and strengthens relationships both personally and professionally. By mastering the silent language of connection, you can significantly improve your interpersonal skills and create a more positive and harmonious world around you. Chapter 13. Effective Communication in the Workplace. The Power of Nonverbal Intelligence. The workplace is a dynamic environment where effective communication is paramount. Whether you're leading a team, negotiating a deal, or collaborating with colleagues, your ability to communicate clearly and persuasively is crucial for success. Nonverbal communication plays a significant role in workplace interactions, influencing how you are perceived, how your ideas are received, and how effectively you can build professional relationships. This chapter explores how to apply nonverbal communication principles to improve communication in various professional settings. Making a strong first impression. First impressions matter, especially in the workplace. Your nonverbal communication can make or break a first encounter. Professional appearance. Dress appropriately for the workplace culture. Your attire, grooming, and overall appearance communicate professionalism and respect. Confident posture. Stand tall with your shoulders back and your head held high. A confident posture projects an image of competence and authority. Firm handshake. A firm handshake, not bone-crushing, conveys confidence and assertiveness. Maintain eye contact during the handshake. Warm smile. A genuine smile creates a positive impression and signals approachability. Communicating effectively in meetings. Meetings are a common part of workplace life, and nonverbal communication can significantly impact their effectiveness. Active listening. Pay attention to the speaker, maintain eye contact, nod in agreement, and lean slightly forward. These cues show that you are engaged and interested. Clear and concise communication. Use clear and concise language and avoid jargon or technical terms that your audience may not understand. Confident delivery. Speak clearly and confidently, varying your tone and pace to keep the audience engaged. Use appropriate hand gestures to emphasize key points. Respectful body language. Avoid distracting behaviors such as fidgeting, checking your phone, or interrupting others. Maintain an open posture and make eye contact with different members of the audience. Negotiating with influence. Nonverbal communication is a powerful tool in negotiations. Projecting confidence. Maintain a confident posture, make eye contact, and speak clearly and assertively. Reading the other party. Pay attention to the other party's body language, facial expressions, and vocal cues. Try to understand their emotional state and their underlying needs. Building rapport. Use mirroring and matching techniques to create a sense of connection and understanding. Controlling your own nonverbal communication. Be mindful of your own nonverbal cues and how they might be perceived by the other party. Giving and receiving feedback. Feedback is essential for professional growth, and nonverbal communication plays a key role in its delivery and reception. Creating a safe space. When giving feedback, choose a private setting where the other person feels comfortable. Delivering feedback constructively. Focus on specific behaviors and their impact, rather than making personal attacks. Maintain a supportive tone of voice and use open body language. Receiving feedback openly. Listen attentively to the feedback, maintain eye contact, and avoid defensiveness. Even if you don't agree with the feedback, try to understand the other person's perspective. Leading with nonverbal authority. Effective leaders use nonverbal communication to inspire and motivate their teams. Projecting confidence and authority. Maintain a confident posture, make eye contact, and speak clearly and assertively. Communicating vision. Use your voice and body language to convey your passion and enthusiasm for the organization's goals. Building trust and rapport. Be approachable and accessible, and use nonverbal cues to create a sense of connection with your team members. Building professional relationships. Nonverbal communication is essential for building strong professional relationships. Networking effectively. Make eye contact, offer a firm handshake, and engage in active listening. Collaborating effectively. Be open and approachable, and use nonverbal cues to communicate your willingness to collaborate. Resolving conflict. Maintain a calm and respectful demeanor, and use nonverbal cues to de-escalate tension. Developing your nonverbal intelligence at work. Self-awareness. Pay attention to your own nonverbal communication and how it might be perceived by others. Observation. Observe the nonverbal communication of your colleagues and try to understand their communication styles. Feedback. Seek feedback from trusted colleagues on your nonverbal communication. Practice. Practice using effective nonverbal communication in different workplace settings. By developing your nonverbal intelligence, you can significantly enhance your communication skills and build stronger professional relationships. Mastering the silent language of the workplace is crucial for achieving success in your career. Chapter 14, Enhancing Personal Relationships, the Silent Language of Love and Connection. Our personal relationships are built on a foundation of love, trust, and understanding. While verbal communication is essential for expressing our thoughts and feelings, nonverbal cues play a crucial role in conveying the deeper emotions that bind us to our loved ones. This chapter explores how understanding and applying nonverbal communication principles can strengthen personal relationships and improve communication with family and friends. The language of love and affection. Nonverbal communication is often the primary way we express love and affection. A gentle touch, a warm embrace, a loving gaze. These gestures speak volumes about our feelings for another person. Physical touch. Physical touch, such as holding hands, hugging, or cuddling, is a powerful way to express love and intimacy. It releases oxytocin, a hormone associated with bonding and attachment. Facial expressions. A warm smile, a loving gaze, a gentle touch on the cheek. These facial expressions convey affection and care. Vocal cues. A soft tone of voice, a gentle laugh, a whispered, "I love you." These vocal cues can be incredibly meaningful in expressing love and affection, building intimacy and connection. Intimacy is about feeling close and connected to another person. Nonverbal communication can help us create a sense of intimacy in our relationships. Shared activities. Engaging in shared activities, such as watching a movie, going for a walk, or cooking a meal together, can create a sense of connection and shared experience. These activities often involve nonverbal communication, such as shared smiles, laughter, and eye contact. Quality time. Spending quality time with loved ones without distractions is essential for building intimacy. Put away your phones and focus on being present in the moment. Active listening. Active listening involves not only hearing the words someone is saying, but also paying attention to their nonverbal cues. Make eye contact, nod in agreement, and show genuine interest in what they are saying. Navigating conflict and difficult conversations. Conflict is a natural part of any relationship. Nonverbal communication can either escalate or de-escalate conflict. Calm demeanor, maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor, even during difficult conversations, can help to de-escalate tension. Avoid raising your voice, crossing your arms, or rolling your eyes. Empathetic responses. Try to understand your loved one's perspective, even if you don't agree with them. Use empathetic facial expressions and vocal cues to show that you are listening and that you care. Open communication. Be open and honest about your feelings and needs, and encourage your loved ones to do the same. Nonverbal communication can help to create a safe space for open communication. Understanding family dynamics. Family dynamics can be complex, and nonverbal communication plays a significant role in shaping these dynamics. Parent-child communication. Parents often use nonverbal communication to communicate with their children, especially young children who may not yet have the language skills to express themselves fully. A parent's touch, gaze, and tone of voice can convey love, comfort, and support. Sibling relationships. Sibling relationships are often characterized by a mix of love, rivalry, and competition. Nonverbal communication can play a role in these dynamics, with siblings often using playful teasing, gestures, and facial expressions to communicate with each other. The importance of nonverbal communication in long-distance relationships. Maintaining close relationships across the miles can be challenging. Nonverbal communication can help bridge the distance. Video calls. Video calls allow us to see and hear our loved ones, providing a richer communication experience than phone calls or text messages. We can see their facial expressions, body language, and other nonverbal cues, which can help us feel more connected. Written communication. Even in written communication, we can use nonverbal cues such as emojis and punctuation to convey emotions and add meaning to our messages. Developing your nonverbal intelligence in personal relationships. Self-awareness. Pay attention to your own nonverbal communication and how it might be perceived by your loved ones. Observation. Observe the nonverbal communication of your family and friends to better understand their feelings and needs. Empathy. Try to put yourself in your loved one's shoes and understand their perspective. Open communication. Create a safe space for open and honest communication where everyone feels comfortable expressing their thoughts and feelings. By understanding and applying nonverbal communication principles, you can strengthen your personal relationships, build deeper connections with your loved ones, and create a more loving and supportive environment. The silent language of love and connection is a powerful force that can enrich our lives in countless ways. Chapter 15. Nonverbal communication in digital interactions. Navigating the virtual landscape. In today's digital age, much of our communication takes place online through text messages, emails, video calls, and social media. While these platforms offer convenience and connectivity, they also present unique challenges and opportunities for nonverbal communication. This chapter explores the complexities of nonverbal communication in digital interactions, examining how we can adapt our communication strategies to navigate the virtual landscape effectively. The challenges of digital communication. One of the biggest challenges of digital communication is the absence of many nonverbal cues that we rely on in face-to-face interactions. In text-based communication, we miss out on body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and other nonverbal signals that provide context and meaning. This can lead to misunderstandings, misinterpretations, and even conflict. Adapting to text-based communication. While text-based communication lacks many traditional nonverbal cues, we can still use certain strategies to convey meaning and emotion. Emojis and emoticons. Emojis and emoticons are visual representations of facial expressions and emotions. They can help to add nuance and feeling to text-based messages. However, it's important to use them appropriately and avoid overusing them. punctuation and capitalization. Punctuation and capitalization can also be used to convey emotion. For example, using exclamation points can express excitement, while using all caps can suggest shouting. Word choice. The words we choose can have a significant impact on how our message is received. Be mindful of the language you use and choose words that accurately reflect your intended meaning and tone. Timing. The timing of our responses can also communicate meaning. A quick response might suggest enthusiasm, while a delayed response could indicate disinterest or busyness. Video calls. Bridging the gap. Video calls offer a richer communication experience than text-based communication, as they allow us to see and hear the other person. However, video calls still have limitations compared to face-to-face interactions. Technical difficulties. Technical issues such as poor video or audio quality can disrupt communication and create frustration. Limited field of view. Video calls often focus on the face and upper body, limiting our ability to observe body language cues. Distractions. Distractions in the background can also interfere with communication. Tips for effective video calls. Prepare your environment. Choose a quiet and well-lit space for your video call. Minimize distractions in the background. Maintain eye contact. Look at the camera, not the screen, to simulate eye contact. Use appropriate body language. Sit upright, maintain an open posture, and use natural hand gestures. Be mindful of your facial expressions. Your facial expressions will be visible to the other person, so be mindful of what you are communicating. Test your technology. Before the call, test your video and audio equipment to ensure that everything is working properly. Social media, a new language of nonverbal communication. Social media platforms have created a new language of nonverbal communication, with likes, shares, comments, and other interactions serving as social cues. Likes and reactions. Liking or reacting to a post can express agreement, appreciation, or amusement. Shares. Sharing a post can indicate that you find it interesting, informative, or relevant to your network. Comments. Comments allow for more detailed interaction and can be used to express opinions, ask questions, or offer support. Challenges and opportunities. While digital communication presents challenges, it also offers unique opportunities for nonverbal communication. We can use emojis, GIFs, and other digital cues to express emotions and add personality to our messages. We can also use video calls to connect with people across distances and build relationships. Developing your digital communication skills. Be mindful of your online presence. Your online profile and activity communicate a great deal about you. Make sure that your online presence is professional and reflects the image you want to project. Be aware of your audience. Consider who you are communicating with and tailor your communication style accordingly. Use digital cues thoughtfully. Use emojis, GIFs, and other digital cues strategically to enhance your communication. Practice active listening in digital contexts. Pay attention to the language, tone, and timing of messages. Be patient and understanding. Misunderstandings are more common in digital communication, so be patient and understanding with others. By understanding the challenges and opportunities of nonverbal communication in digital interactions, we can adapt our communication strategies to build stronger relationships, avoid misunderstandings, and navigate the virtual landscape effectively. The digital world is constantly evolving, and developing our digital communication skills is essential for success in today's interconnected world. Chapter 16. Mastering Self-Presentation. Projecting confidence and credibility. Self-presentation is the process of consciously shaping how we are perceived by others. It's about managing the impressions we make, whether we're aware of it or not. Nonverbal communication plays a vital role in self-presentation, influencing how others perceive our confidence, credibility, and overall image. This chapter provides guidance on how to use nonverbal communication to project positive impressions in various social and professional situations. The power of first impressions. First impressions are often formed within seconds of meeting someone. These initial judgments can have a lasting impact on how we are perceived and treated. Nonverbal cues such as posture, eye contact, and attire play a crucial role in shaping these first impressions. Key elements of effective self-presentation. Posture. Good posture conveys confidence and self-assurance. Stand tall with your shoulders back and your head held high. Avoid slouching or slumping, as this can signal insecurity or disinterest. Eye contact. Maintaining appropriate eye contact is essential for making a positive impression. It shows that you are engaged, attentive, and interested in the other person. However, avoid staring, as this can be perceived as aggressive or intimidating. Facial expressions. Your facial expressions should be congruent with your message. A genuine smile can convey warmth and friendliness, while a serious expression might be appropriate in a professional setting. Gestures. Use natural and purposeful hand gestures to emphasize your points and add dynamism to your communication. Avoid fidgeting or distracting gestures, as these can make you appear nervous or unsure of yourself. Movement. Your movements should be deliberate and controlled. Avoid pacing or fidgeting, as this can make you appear anxious or restless. Attire. Dress appropriately for the occasion and the context. Your attire should reflect professionalism and respect for the situation. Grooming. Pay attention to your grooming and hygiene. A neat and well-groomed appearance shows that you care about yourself and how you are perceived by others. Projecting confidence. Confidence is an attractive quality that can open doors and create opportunities. Here are some ways to project confidence through nonverbal communication. Own your space. Stand tall and take up space. Avoid making yourself small or shrinking away. Speak clearly and assertively. Project your voice and speak with conviction. Avoid mumbling or speaking hesitantly. Maintain eye contact. Make eye contact with the people you are speaking to. This shows that you are confident and engaged. Use confident body language. Maintain an open posture. Use purposeful gestures and move with confidence. Building credibility. Credibility is essential for building trust and influencing others. Here are some ways to enhance your credibility through nonverbal communication. Be authentic. Be genuine and authentic in your communication. People can usually tell when someone is being fake or insincere. Be consistent. Be consistent in your verbal and nonverbal communication. When your words and actions align, it builds trust and credibility. Be knowledgeable. Demonstrate your knowledge and expertise through your communication. This will enhance your credibility and make people more likely to listen to you. Be respectful. Treat others with respect, even if you disagree with them. This shows that you are a mature and considerate individual, adapting your self-presentation to different situations. Self-presentation is not a one-size-fits-all approach. You need to adapt your communication style to the specific situation and the audience you are interacting with. Formal versus informal settings. In formal settings such as business meetings or presentations, it's important to project a professional and polished image. In informal settings such as social gatherings, you can be more relaxed and casual. Cultural considerations. Be mindful of cultural differences in nonverbal communication. What is considered appropriate in one culture might be offensive in another. Developing your self-presentation skills. Self-reflection. Reflect on your own nonverbal communication and how it might be perceived by others. Feedback. Seek feedback from trusted friends, family members, or colleagues on your self-presentation skills. Practice. Practice your self-presentation skills in different situations. The more you practice, the more confident and natural you will become. By mastering self-presentation, you can control how others perceive you and create positive impressions in any situation. Projecting confidence and credibility through nonverbal communication is a powerful tool for achieving your personal and professional goals. Chapter 17. Developing your nonverbal intelligence. Cultivating a deeper understanding. Nonverbal intelligence, the ability to understand. and effectively use nonverbal communication is a valuable skill that can significantly enhance your personal and professional life. It's not an innate talent. It's a skill that can be developed and honed through conscious effort and practice. This chapter offers practical exercises and strategies for improving your nonverbal intelligence, encouraging self-awareness and observation. Cultivating self-awareness. The foundation of nonverbal intelligence is self-awareness. You can effectively interpret the nonverbal cues of others if you are not aware of your own nonverbal communication. Mirror. Observe yourself in a mirror while talking or engaging in different activities. Pay attention to your posture, facial expressions, and gestures. What messages are you sending nonverbally? Video recording. Record yourself interacting with others, whether it's a casual conversation or a formal presentation. Review the recording and analyze your nonverbal communication. What do you notice about your body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice? Seek feedback. Ask trusted friends, family members, or colleagues for feedback on your nonverbal communication. They may notice things that you are not aware of. Enhancing observational skills. Developing your nonverbal intelligence requires keen observation skills. You need to become a student of human behavior, paying attention to the subtle cues that people are sending. People watching. Observe people in different settings, a coffee shop, a park, a meeting. Try to interpret their nonverbal communication. What emotions are they expressing? What are they communicating through their body language and facial expressions? Focus on clusters. Remember that isolated gestures can be misleading. Look for clusters of nonverbal cues that support each other and create a consistent message. Consider the context. Always consider the context of the interaction when interpreting nonverbal communication. The same gesture can have different meanings depending on the situation and the relationship between the individuals involved. Practice active listening. Active listening involves not only hearing the words someone is saying, but also paying attention to their nonverbal communication. Make eye contact, nod in agreement, and show genuine interest in what they are saying. Targeted exercises for improvement. Here are some targeted exercises to improve specific aspects of your nonverbal communication. Facial expression practice. Practice making different facial expressions in front of a mirror. Try to convey different emotions through your facial expressions. Vocal cue awareness. Record yourself speaking and listen back to the recording. Pay attention to your tone of voice, pitch, pace, and volume. How do these vocal cues affect the meaning of your message? Body language analysis. Watch videos of people interacting and try to analyze their body language. What messages are they communicating through their posture, gestures, and movements? Proxemics exploration. Pay attention to how people use space in different situations. How does the distance between individuals affect their communication? Developing empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, is closely linked to nonverbal intelligence. Developing empathy can enhance your ability to interpret nonverbal cues and connect with others on a deeper level. Perspective taking. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes and see the situation from their point of view. Emotional awareness. Pay attention to your own emotions and how they might be influencing your interpretation of nonverbal cues. Continuous learning and practice. Developing nonverbal intelligence is an ongoing process. It requires continuous learning, practice, and self-reflection. Read books and articles. There are many resources available on nonverbal communication. Reading books and articles on the subject can expand your knowledge and understanding. Attend workshops and seminars. Workshops and seminars can provide valuable insights and practical training in nonverbal communication. Seek mentorship. Find a mentor who is skilled in nonverbal communication and can provide guidance and feedback. The transformative power of nonverbal intelligence. By developing your nonverbal intelligence, you can significantly improve your communication skills, build stronger relationships, and achieve greater success in your personal and professional life. The ability to understand and effectively use nonverbal communication is a valuable asset that can transform your interactions with the world. It's a journey of continuous learning and practice, but the rewards are well worth the effort. Conclusion: the transformative power of the silent language. We have journeyed through the fascinating world of nonverbal communication, exploring its various facets, from the evolutionary roots of unspoken cues to the complexities of digital interactions. We've uncovered the silent language that speaks volumes, revealing the emotions, intentions, and hidden meanings that lie beneath the surface of words. From the subtle shift in posture to the fleeting flicker of a micro-expression, we've learned how these nonverbal signals influence our perceptions, shape our relationships, and impact our success in all areas of life. We began by establishing the fundamental importance of nonverbal communication, recognizing its pervasive influence in human interaction. We explored the core components of this silent language: body language, facial expressions, vocal cues, and the interplay of these signals. We delved into the intricacies of each element, understanding how posture, gestures, eye contact, tone of voice, and even the use of space contribute to the messages we send and receive. We also acknowledged the critical role of context, recognizing that the meaning of nonverbal cues can vary significantly depending on the situation, the relationship between individuals, and the cultural background. We emphasize the importance of cultural sensitivity, highlighting the need to be aware of cultural variations in nonverbal communication to avoid misinterpretations and foster understanding. Throughout this book, we have moved beyond simply understanding the theory of nonverbal communication to applying these principles in practical ways. We explored how to use nonverbal cues to build rapport and trust, enhance communication in the workplace, strengthen personal relationships, and even navigate the complexities of digital interactions. We discussed mastering self-presentation, projecting confidence and credibility, and developing our nonverbal intelligence through self-awareness and observation. The key takeaway is that nonverbal communication is not just an accessory to verbal communication. It's an integral and often more powerful part of the communication process. It's the music that accompanies the lyrics, the subtext that underlies the spoken word. By becoming more attuned to this silent language, we can unlock a deeper understanding of human interaction and significantly enhance our communication skills. This journey of understanding nonverbal communication is not a destination but a continuous process. It requires ongoing learning, practice, and self-reflection. The more we observe, the more we learn. The more we practice, the more fluent we become in this silent language. The transformative power of understanding and utilizing nonverbal communication is immense. It empowers us to build stronger connections, navigate social situations with greater ease, and achieve our goals more effectively. It allows us to see beyond the surface of words and connect with others on a deeper, more authentic level. As you move forward, remember that the silent language is always speaking. Pay attention, observe, and learn. Embrace the power of nonverbal communication, and you will discover a richer, more nuanced world of human interaction. Continue to cultivate your nonverbal intelligence, and you will unlock your full potential as a communicator and a human being. Appendix: Quick Reference Guide to Common Nonverbal Cues. This appendix provides a quick reference guide to common nonverbal cues and their potential interpretations. Remember that these are general guidelines, and the meaning of any nonverbal cue can vary depending on the context, culture, and individual. Always consider clusters of cues and the overall situation before drawing conclusions. Body language: upright posture, confidence, assertiveness, attentiveness, slumped posture, insecurity, disinterest, fatigue. Leaning forward: interest, engagement, attentiveness. Leaning back: disinterest, defensiveness, detachment. Crossed arms: defensiveness, closed-mindedness, discomfort, can also be a comfortable position. Open palms, honesty, openness, receptiveness, clenched fists, tension, anger, frustration, pointing finger, aggression, dominance, wringing hands, anxiety, nervousness, fidgeting, nervousness, restlessness, boredom, mirroring, rapport, connection, agreement, facial expressions, smile, happiness, joy, friendliness, can also be used sarcastically, frown, sadness, disapproval, concern, raised eyebrows, surprise, disbelief, curiosity, furrowed brows, concentration, concern, anger, widened eyes, surprise, fear, excitement, narrowed eyes, suspicion, anger, concentration, lip tighting, tension, anger, disapproval, mouth open, surprise, shock, micro-expressions, fleeting expressions revealing concealed emotions, eye contact, direct eye contact, confidence, attentiveness, honesty, can also be perceived as aggressive, avoiding eye contact, shyness, dishonesty, discomfort, prolonged eye contact, intimidation, challenge, intense interest, darting eyes, nervousness, anxiety, dishonesty, vocal cues, paralanguage, warm tone, friendliness, enthusiasm, sincerity, cold tone, disinterest, detachment, hostility, high pitch, excitement, nervousness, anxiety, low pitch, seriousness, authority, calmness, fast pace, excitement, nervousness, urgency, slow pace, calmness, deliberation, boredom, loud volume, confidence, assertiveness, aggression, soft volume, shyness, intimacy, secrecy, pauses, emphasis, contemplation, hesitation, vocal fillers, hesitation, uncertainty, nervousness, proxemics, use of space, intimate space, close relationships, intimacy, personal space, friends, family, close colleagues, social space, formal interactions, business meetings, public space, public speaking, large gatherings, haptics, touch, handshake, greeting, agreement, respect, hug, affection, warmth, comfort, pat on the back, encouragement, support, light touch on the arm, comfort, reassurance, important reminders, clusters of cues. Look for patterns and clusters of nonverbal cues rather than isolated gestures. Context is key. The meaning of nonverbal communication can vary depending on the situation, relationship, and cultural background. Individual differences. People have different baseline behaviors. Don't jump to conclusions based on a single cue. Cultural variations. Be mindful of cultural differences in nonverbal communication to avoid misinterpretations. This quick reference guide is a starting point for understanding nonverbal communication. Continue to observe, learn, and practice to develop your nonverbal intelligence.